Howdy, I'm back with an update on the bandsaw. Although it's done, I still need to do a few things like I mentioned on the other video. I'm making a resaw fence, and I want to put a pull ball on the knob here, and I'm going to try to figure out how to make it mobile. And there's a couple other little minor things. I got a different blade, I'm going to change it and touch up the paint. But first, in the last video, I didn't show how I did the pull balls, and they didn't turn out real great. So I went to storage and got out this cheap Harbor Freight drill press that I got this on Craigslist years ago, and it's in the exact same condition as I bought it. I bought it for like 40 bucks. But I have a good like 1930s or 1940s drill press, Craftsman drill press in storage, but it was way too big to get over here and I didn't have room for it yet. So I just drug this one over here just so that I can drill out these pull balls and show you how I did it. With the other pull balls, I used these mini pull balls that are in here right now. I'm going to use at least one more of them on this, but for that knob, which is this knob here, I'm going to use a real pull ball, full-size pull ball, that 8 ball down there, and I'm going to use this to put it in. This ball, I'm not sure exactly where I got it from, but I'm thinking it was either my dad's bar when I was a teenager. Actually, I was a preteen. He had a bar in Friant, California called Friant Tavern, and I might have got it from that, or I got it from this bar in Fresno called The Pub. I'm not sure exactly where I got it from. The pub closed down, and the new owners completely gutted it and threw a bunch of stuff in the dumpster, and I think I might have pulled it out of the dumpster at the time. But as you can see, it is really old. The white is really yellowed, but it's an original, and it's got all the marks to show it. But I'm going to put this in place of that knob. So to get it exactly centered right, I really need a drill press. With the other balls, I used this Meixsell drill guide using a cordless drill, and it didn't turn out exactly right. So I'm going to use this for this. Especially this, I don't want to ruin it. I want to make sure that the hole's completely straight. So this homemade knob that came with the bandsaw, I don't know what it actually came with. You can tell because it's been welded, but the threads and the size is an off size that they don't make much anymore. It's 7/16 with 14 threads per inch. And this is the only size that I could find, but I need to cut the head off or grind it off or something. I'm going to do that after I'm done with this. But the process is to drill the hole in the ball to the exact right depth on here. So I'm going to have to set the right depth, and then because it's an off thread, and I have a whole set of taps, but I didn't have one that would fit it, so I had to order this one off of Amazon. But the main thing is I need to get the depth right because I can't have any play in it when I try to tighten it. And this bolt is just barely long enough. If I look at this and compare it, I've got about a 1/2 inch play, so I can't go deeper than a 1/2 inch on this. So I'm going to jump in right here with some voiceover. I was getting way too technical on this, and I was trying to explain way too much, and nothing worked out the way I wanted it to work out. And it took more time to do this one little thing than the whole length of this video. So here's the short version. I drilled the hole, I tapped the hole, I grinded off the head of the bolt, and I screwed the bolt into the ball. Then finally screwed it into the bandsaw. All right, so I have weighed my options to try to figure out what I'm going to do for the resaw fence. The amount of money it costs to get an actual aluminum extrusion, I think that's what this is called, fence, and just bolt it on there, is way too much. So I went to the local hardware store here, Middle Mill, and got a piece of oak. And it's good and straight. I ran it through my planer. I did some work on that, got it all calibrated and everything, and ran it through there, got it all nice and flat. I'm going to double it up, so I want to cut it in half, and they're going to be 18 and 1/2 inch each side, and then I'm going to glue them together. And then I'm going to work on trying to get them on there. But for now, let me cut this thing.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So after hand planing the edges one-handed on this rickety-ass table, I sanded it for days and days. So now that I have this cut and glued together and sanded, I'm going to have to put it onto this fence. I'm going to end up bolting it on here. I've already figured out a way to do that. The biggest problem that I'm having with that is that these T-tracks are not standard size. I don't know why Craig did this, but they are a little bit too small. So I ordered some actual bolts that'll fit right in here. Actually, it's not going to be this track, it's going to be these two tracks. I'll put bolts in here. I'll put 3 across this one and 3 across this one. And 1 on each side and 1 in the middle. So there'll be 6 altogether. But before I do that, I thought about something. And I'm glad I thought about this before I bolted that in. With the weight of this on this fence, I'm afraid that going back and forth, it's going to be a little heavy on the back side over here. So it's going to scrape as I move it back and forth. So the solution that I came up with for that is I ordered a set of these. I was going to just get ones with metal ball bearings in it, but I was thinking that's going to scratch up this top a little bit too much. So I just got these cheap ones with a little nylon bearing in it. And I'm going to mount one of these right here. So that'll take up the weight so that it's not going to rub against this, and it'll glide against this pretty easily. So I'm going to do that real quick and see how it works. So finally got it. A little bit of a pain, but I got it. There's a little bit higher gap in there that I wanted. When I bolt this to the fence, I'm going to set it so that it's a little bit higher up. I'll probably actually adjust the fence a little higher up so that it evens out that side over there. So that's my next step on this, is to drill the holes for the bolts. This is the top of the rail, so I'm going to put it even with this and measure it from this side and go around to the other side. Well, for some reason, I didn't get the camera turned on when I was drilling the bolt holes, but I just used the 1/4 inch and drilled right through the middle. Like to rock! I like to rock! So I showed this in the last video. There's a surface crack. It doesn't go all the way through to the bottom of this, but there's a surface crack that goes right here all the way over to here. So the first thing I'm going to do is drill a hole here so it doesn't spread. Then I'm going to put some JB Weld on here, let it cure, and then sand it down. And hopefully that's going to work. From what I understand, that's probably the best solution that I can come up with. So I still need to put some paste wax on this. I have the paste wax here. But I also want to put paste wax on the table here at the same time. But before I do that, I need to sand this down. Oh, also I got the new blade on. It's all dialed in. So got that down. You still see the crack, but that's just the JB Weld that you're seeing mostly now. Now I can wax the fence and then put it back together. So there was two other things that I was going to do to this that I decided I really didn't need to do. And the first one is I was going to put wheels on it, make it mobile. The second one is touch up the paint. So because during the process of putting it all together and doing all the other stuff, I got a few little minor scratches in it, but there's nothing major, and it's going to get scratched anyway. It's a freaking shop tool. So there's no use. Just for a beauty shot, there's no use to touch up the paint. And about the wheels, I'm gonna eventually move it into the very center of the shed, which would be right there, just a little bit over this way. And there is enough room on both sides that as long as everything else around it is mobile, I can leave that in one spot. So the very last thing I need to do, now that it's all together and everything's functional, is I need to calibrate this fence for drift. You've probably seen a lot of videos on YouTube about this. If you haven't, what wood drift is, when you saw wood up against the fence, the line does not actually stay straight. I'll show you that on a practice piece. All right, maybe third time's a charm. So I wasn't getting anywhere with this. Apparently, my blade has no drift, and I'll talk about what I think could be the reason here in a few minutes. So since I couldn't really show you how to adjust for drift in this video, I'll put a link in the description below on a good video that explains the whole thing. It might be because I got it adjusted really good on the wheel. But when I put this blade on, I marked it with a Sharpie right down the middle, and I think I can see it right there. Right here. Right there. See that Sharpie? Sharpie was right down the middle, and adjusting for the width of the mark, that gullet is right in the middle of the width of that mark. So I've got it like perfectly centered on here. And that might make a difference in the drift. The main reason you want to put this in the middle like this anyway is because the wheel is convex, or at least the band that you put on here. And the highest point is the very center. If you have it too far forward, the blade is going to tilt a little bit this way. If you have it too far backwards, the blade's going to tilt a little that way. So that's probably what causes drift. I don't know, I'd have to do some research on that, but just off the top of my head, I'm thinking that right now. That makes sense. Makes, pretty good sense that that's what's causing the drift. Because if your blade's tilting a little bit that way, when you try to saw something, the blade's going to be tilted a little bit this way also. So when you saw it, it's not going to go straight. Same thing as if it's tilted this way. That would mean the blade would be tilted this way. When you try to saw this way, it's not going to go straight. So if you get that perfectly centered on the gullet, those teeth are perfectly straight up and down this way, perpendicular, well, parallel to the fence, perpendicular to the table. So that would make sense that's why it's going so straight. So now that I finished that, I am finally officially done with this. So last time I realized I didn't get any end of video shots of this when it was completely done, mostly because it wasn't completely done yet. I still had a few more things to do, but now I'll do those as I roll out the video.